Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Tracy and this is my sister Ashley, and today we are doing a prenatal yoga class. This is going to be a very restorative class. It's going to focus on some pelvic floor work as well as some hip opening and some heart opening. This is going to be safe for you all the way up until your third trimester. Ashley is actually in her third trimester and just started her 28th week this week. So yay! So excited. So I'm just really honored that my sister is here to do this practice with me. Before we get started, it's really important to have approval of your doctor before moving forwards in this practice. Move intuitively. So do what feels right. If something doesn't feel good, don't force anything for yourself. And this is just a practice to gift you connection, not only to yourself and your body, but also to baby. Yeah. So we'll get started seated as we are. If you need a little help with your hips, know that you can prop yourself up using a low blanket or a really small pillow so that you feel comfortable. All right, we'll face towards the front and we will start with some Sufi grinds or some spinal and hip circles. So hands can rest onto your knees or your shin bones. Great. And we'll create just a slight curvature into the spine and start to move our rib cage in a circle. Great. You may feel this in your low back and your hips. And a goal is to create some symphysis between those two spaces. Take your time, move slow, and start to notice those little subtle changes as you move your ribs in these circular motions. Great. We'll move in the opposite direction now. Taking those mindful and intentional breaths. Great, we'll do 3 more. And then we'll make our way back towards center and we'll start to get into our side body and our ribs. So I'll have Ashley stay in the same position. I'll face you. Right hand is going to come onto the ground by your side. And I'll have you reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Now you can keep it like this as you side bend or bend into your left elbow and support the back of your head with your hand. Up to you. Great. Think about your left hip rooting, but also think about your left side rib cage lifting, right? We're trying to create space. So with every inhale, feel yourself grow longer. And with every exhale, feel yourself soften. Nice. We'll do 2 more breaths just like that. Great. And then we'll bring ourselves back up from here and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So now your left hand will come to the ground. Right arm will reach up. You can keep that arm long or bend it if you did that on the other side. And just supporting the head as you take this arc through the spine. Again, think about your right hip rooting down while the right side of your rib cage lifts and feels lofty and buoyant. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. And after this last one, I'll have you bring yourself all the way back up. Nice. And then we're going to take an upper spinal twist. I suggest bringing your hands onto your belly. You can also have them onto your knees or onto your thighs. And I want you to take an inhale to feel your chest lift a little bit, and then rotate from your thoracic spine to your right-hand side. So just rotating and opening. Great. You can point your chin down towards your shoulder. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of tension into your trapezius muscle and into the backs of your shoulders. You can also roll your ear towards your shoulder, creating some space along the neck into the SCM or sternocleidomastoid. Nice. Great, and then we'll bring ourselves back up through center with the head and the torso. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. So again, upper torso, twisting and rotating towards your left-hand side. And you can point the chin down towards the shoulder, getting some space into the back of the neck and into the traps. And you can also roll the ear towards the shoulder, getting some space into the neck. And sometimes this even makes its way all the way up into our jaw. Nice. We'll bring our head and neck back to neutral, and we'll bring our spine back into a neutral position. And then take a few moments to just roll out the shoulders, lifting them towards the ears, dropping them down their back. Dropping them down your back. Nice. And then we'll make our way towards tabletop. You might want to lean back, sitting off to one side to make your way there, but just move in a way that feels comfortable and feels intentional. All right, we already did some good warm-up for our spine. So if you want to do some hip waggling, just moving side to side, creating space into the side body and into the hips. Good. Sometimes it feels good also to release the belly down, but here for our intents and purposes, we're going to try to keep a neutral spine. A little bit of core work, a little bit of back work here. We're going to extend our right leg behind us. And you can keep the toes on the ground just like Ashley's doing, or you can lift the heel up. Nice. Now we're going to work asymmetrical. So now your left arm, we're going to extend the fingertips towards the front of your mat. This is a great place to stay. Or you can test your balance and lift your left arm up. We're going to do an 8 count hold. But even though we are holding in one position, we are continuing to breathe. Great. Last 4. Last 3. 2, and 1. We'll lower the hand if it's up, lower the foot if it's up, and then just take a little reset with your hips. Great. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left leg is going to extend back. You can keep the toes on the ground, or if you floated it up on the other side, doing that here. Nice. Now let's add in the opposite arm. So right fingertips can crawl towards the front of your mat and stay, or you can also reach the right arm up so that you're in your asymmetrical balance. This is really great strengthening for your back and for your shoulders. Again, an 8-second hold, but we are continuing to breathe. Good. Last 4, last 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower the hand, lower the knee down. Again, same thing, taking a little reset with your hips. And then we're going to take this into child's pose position. So knees are going to widen, toes are going to touch, or you can keep them tucked like Ashley is, and we'll reach our arms forward in front of us. Everybody on their journey in pregnancy is going to feel different in this position, and there's a couple ways that we can modify for each body. So you can do exactly as Ashley's doing, right? Hands are down, hips are sending back. But if you feel like you need a little more support for your knees, you can take a blanket underneath them, even a pillow. So I have the blanket wider than the mat because Ashley feels more comfortable in a wider position like so. A restorative version that you can take offers a lot more support for your chest. So So in order to get set up for that one, we'll need a couple of blocks and a bolster or a body pillow. You can also do this without a body pillow and just find a couch cushion, just something that's a little more oblong. I like doing it with the blocks because it heightens our chest a bit. Great. And if you need to adjust them back behind you, forwards, just however you can get into that comfortable position. Great. And turning the head to the side. We'll take a couple of rounds with the head turned to one side, and then we'll turn it towards the other. All right, I'll have you turn your heads to the other side so that we feel some balance. Right, and then we'll bring ourselves back towards center. Nice. All right, we're going to get set up for our more exertive part of our practice. So our next shape that we're going to be heading towards is downward facing dog. And I'll have you make sure that both of your blocks are towards the front, since we're going to be using those in a moment to do some hip opening in our lunges. To move into our down dog, we'll tuck our toes and we'll lift our hips and create that A shape with our body. Taking a wider stance can help you feel a lot more comfortable here. And I suggest moving in a way that feels intuitive. So maybe that looks like pedaling your legs a bit, swiveling the hips side to side. Maybe you need to decompress your cervical spine. So shaking out your head no, or giving it a little shake, shake yes can feel really good. Think about spreading out your hands, strengthening through the shoulders while we're here. We'll take 3 more breaths. All right, finishing off our final breath here. Great. And then we're going to move into our first lunge. So right foot is going to take a nice wide step over towards your right wrist. And then we're going to grab both of our blocks and lower our left knee down towards the ground. And then when we're here, we're going to just focus on creating space into the front line of our hips. So your hip flexors in particular. And the way that you can get into those is by just allowing the hips to lean forwards towards the ground. It's okay if your knees go a bit past your ankles. That's actually really great mobility for your ankles. And if you even feel a little bit of swelling or discomfort there, it's nice to get some mobility in that space. Great. And then we'll kind of vacillate back and forth between this position and into a hamstring stretch. So lengthening out your right leg any amount. If you feel like your blocks need to be further forwards or further back, you can make those adjustments. And we'll do this flossing motion for about 10 more seconds.
Snap, crackle.
Snap, crackle, pops. And something that I do in my own personal practice is that if something feels like it just needs more attention, and if you want to stay still in a spot, totally indulge yourself there. This is how we're picking up on our body cues. We're listening to our body's needs and responding to them, which is very important, especially when we're pregnant. All right. We'll work out of our lunge. You can step your way back to a tabletop position from here, resetting the hips a bit, and then we're going to head back into downward facing dog and then do the other side. So we'll scoot our blocks, tuck our toes, lift our hips. Same thing, we'll do an 8 count hold here. All right, and then we'll take a wide step with our left foot towards our left wrist. Your blocks are there for you. We'll lower our right knee down and do that same lunging, flossing that we were doing on side 1. Good, wider positions for the legs, just making space for belly. And also adds a different dimension to the hip opening that staying in a square or parallel position doesn't really offer. Knee can move past the ankle, totally safe, totally fine. And we'll take about 8 or so rounds of this, moving back and forth between your hip flexor stretch and your hamstring stretch. Great, we'll do 2 more rounds. Great, and then we'll move out of our lunge back into that tabletop position. Nice. And then we'll take a quick break. If you need to take some water or reset yourself in any way, this is a great moment to do that. We're going to do a little bit of standing, finish with our malasana, and then a heart opener on the ground. Yay!
Nice.
How you feeling so far?
Great.
I love that.
Really good.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. It's opening.
Yay.
More so.
Yes. You're like, especially because I get to do it 2 times.
It feels so great to do these deep grounding breaths as well.
Yeah. All right. So we'll come to standing. Great. And anytime I'm standing, I even like to kind of intuitively move a bit here. So we just did some things on our knees. So if you feel like you need to pedal out a little bit, sometimes taking some big hip circles feels really good. Nice. All right. And all those lunges got us nice and prepared for this next shape. Toes are going to point out, heels are going to point in, and we're going to go down into a deep squat or malasana. Blocks are nearby to kind of set us up and have a little support for our hips in this position as well. Knees will bend, right? You can hinge forward to help you get down, and blocks can come underneath you like you're in a little stool position. If you feel comfortable without the stool, but you're having a tough time getting your heels on the ground, something that you can do is roll up your mat a couple times, reset, and do the same thing. That way you kind of have this forward pitch and position. And while we're here, again, we're just focusing on breath, breathing. This position is a very grounding position. And allows us to open our hips, stay strong through our back. Good, we'll do 3 more breaths here in our stillness. You can drop into affirmations, reminders to yourself, connections with baby. We did a little side bending in the beginning of class, and we can include some of that here. So the one that we were doing was having one hand staying on your belly to support, opposite arm reaching up, and then taking that slight spinal extension over towards the side. Good. Ashley's making those adjustments, lengthening and extending before side bending. So that's a good reminder to take with us as we move through this. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Last time we'll create length with our inhale, and we'll create softness with our exhale. All right, we'll bring ourselves back up from that side bending shape if we chose to take it. And then from here, we're gonna work back down towards the ground. All right, so from here, we're gonna come forwards and work our way off of our blocks. And we're gonna go into our final shape in this class, which is a block-supported heart opener. One block is gonna go for your head, the other is going to go for your spine. It can go up and down the length of your spine or go across for a more supportive feeling. And then we'll take your bolster and lay it at an incline against your blocks. We'll scoot your hips up against the pillow and then lean back. Once you feel like you're in a comfortable position for your hips and for your back, then you can start to decide where you want to have your legs. For some people, they'll want to knock the knees together. That can be really beneficial for the low spine and sacrum area. Or you may want to find more of a groin and hip opener, so bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. This is also known as Baddha Konasana or bound angle. Now you may want a more supportive version of your bound angle if you happen to have them or some props that are of a similar size. You can take them underneath your knees. So I'll have you lift your left knee a little bit, Ashley. There we go. Then your right knee. Perfect. And then for me, the final step for comfort here is taking a blanket across your knees and lap, just to give you a sense of warmth, of support, and even almost like a little bit of a weighted blanket across your thighs. Now our final piece is going to be for your heart space. So arms are going to reach up towards the ceiling. We'll open them up wide like you're about to hug somebody. And then let's actually hug ourselves. So wrap your arms around your body, crisscrossing the arms. Great. And then we'll open the arms back up again and do the same thing just on the other side. So crossing the opposite arm on cross. Great, and then we'll open up the arms again, taking them up and overhead this time. And like you're building a big snow angel, drag them all the way down by your side body. And then inhale up and overhead. And exhale, dragging down. And we'll do this 3 more times. Checking into any sticky spots, any tense spots. Listening to our body, giving it what it needs. Maybe you take your arms up and overhead one last time and hang on to opposite elbow, really opening up through your shoulders and your upper spine. And then we'll release into our final position, which can be exactly what it looks like now or something a little bit different. And we'll take 8 breaths here. Now for your last couple of breaths, I invite you to bring either both hands onto your belly or one hand onto your heart, one hand onto your belly. And we'll take a moment to be kind to this body, grateful to this body, and connected to this body and baby. We'll start to move out of this shape, so you can start by changing the leg positioning, guiding both of the knees in towards a neutral. And you can lean off to one side, using that top arm to push you up to a seated position. I hope this practice made you feel more connected with yourself, more connected with your body. As always, it's an honor to teach you. It's an honor to teach my sister. I'm so grateful that you did this class with me, Ashley, and that we got to immortalize this moment in time. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day, rest of your evening, and I hope you join me again on this channel soon. Thank you.